Welcome to the Aro Benaiah Show. Today I'm joined by Bradley Koch, business coach, Marine Corp veteran, and what some call the business doctor. Bradley help our small business owner regain control of their time, money, and direction by building business that work for them, not the other way around. Bradley, welcome to the show. It's a pleasure having you here.
Hey, it's wonderful to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So Bradley, what was it like growing up?
Well, if my mom was here, she would say it was tough because
Hmm.
I probably wasn't the best son. That's why when I was 17, I had to leave. I went right into the United States Marine Corps and had to grow up. And after I went through basic training, I had a new appreciation for my parents, and I probably was a better son from that point forward. But as a kid, I lived in Florida. I enjoyed surfing. I enjoyed soccer. I enjoyed all the things that a rowdy young boy would enjoy.
Wow. Amazing, amazing. So Bradley, you often say that people start business to gain control. Where do those where do most business owner lose that control?
Well, it could be a few places, but probably the most common is they get sucked into the details of day to day. And I like to give this example. This is I think a great example. You might be a really good mechanic. You fix cars, you fix trucks, and one day you decide, I don't want to work for someone else. I want to do it myself, and you start your business. And you start off doing the jobs, doing the work, turning the wrenches, fixing the cars. Time goes by, and ultimately, you've got two or three more mechanics, and now you've got a business. And what started was a job, but now you have a business, and you never get out of that doing the work in the business mentality. And for small businesses to thrive, they have to be able to separate themselves and look at their business to work on the business. And that's a big distinction that a lot of small business owners fail to make.
Yeah, wow. I mean, I think you just speak a whole lot of volumes, being that a whole lot of small business that get started out. Most of them they have the mindset of it starting out as a business, but as the demand increases owing to the numbers of customers they were getting, they need to get a numbers of persons who could do the same similar job, and at one point they get sucked in the day to day, and this is really amazing analogy. So how do your time in Marine Corp shape the way you approach business and leadership?
That's a really good question. If I would have to say for me, it was having some discipline. So being able to follow a plan and be patient
Hmm.
and not chase the next thing that was shiny, or here's this new piece of software, or here's this new thing. Just have faith that you put the work in making a plan and then you work the plan. And I think that discipline has helped me at different stages in my life.
Well, discipline. I think this is very, very key. As per many entrepreneurs, it's easier to get carried away in every new stuff that comes handy. And the fact that the military is so regimented that yeah, when they say go, the go should be go. I
Mm.
was just wondering how that actually more like chipping. But what is the biggest mistake you see small business owner make earlier on when they just get started?
It ties into the two things we just talked about.
Yeah.
One is discipline, and that is chasing all of these different things and believing that everything they do has to be a home run, right? That's a baseball analogy, that every time you get up to do something, you have to hit it out of the park. Um, you have to win. And the truth is, winning in business is about stacking little tiny
Mm.
improvements on each other. And over time, it starts off like this, but pretty soon it starts going like this. I kind of refer to it as compounding action. A little win today on top of a little win tomorrow and the next day, you get momentum. And the business owners that think, no, I've got to do it all right now, it's got to be perfect now, they fall into a trap ultimately.
Wow. lead to improvement, which is more like a compound interest, over the one that just suddenly want to change these things without following the due process. Oh, that's really amazing. So how do you compare business to an airplane? Can you break down the analogy down for us?
Oh, sure. And I love this because I became a pilot. I learned to fly 7 or 8 years ago, and it just, the analogy of a plane and a business just clicked. So, in order for a plane to fly, the plane has to have certain things that work properly. There has to be a cockpit, there has to be a place for the owner to sit. And in the cockpit, they steer the plane. They have navigation, they figure out where they're going, and they get all the feedback from the airplane and the environment, and they make changes. The same thing's true in your business. The business owner needs to think like a pilot. I need here today and I want to go there tomorrow. And how do I get there? Well, I have to make a plan to get there and follow the plan. The airplane's also got wings for obvious reason, right? It gives the
Yeah.
plane lift. In your business, that is your products and your services. So the things that you sell and give value that people pay you for. So your wings have to be appropriate for your business. I'll give you an example of what wouldn't be appropriate. If a business had 100 different things they did for sales, for revenue. Visualize wings on an airplane being really, really, really long and wide, right? They just don't fit the business. They don't fit the airplane. So that makes you think about your business in terms of what are we selling and what are we doing and how does that match where we want to go? So we have to keep that in balance. The right engine on an airplane, think about that like your marketing. If you had no marketing and you just had sales, which is the other engine, and you gave power to that, you would just continually spin in a circle because there's no other engine on the other
Yeah.
side to counterbalance that, right? So sales and marketing are two things that without either of them, you don't get off the ground. Your business doesn't move, you don't fly, and it ends poorly. So the next thing is to think about the body of the airplane is the overhead in a business. Most small businesses, especially people that are just starting out, they don't have a ton of overhead, which is good. They've got a skill, they're doing it, and they're getting paid to do it, and they want to do more of it, right? At some point in their journey, they're gonna reach a point where their expenses, their overhead. They might have people that they employ. They might have a big building, an office, equipment. All of those things need to do nothing more than support the business. The problem is when you see, now picture an airplane. Remember, the body of the airplane is the overhead, having a big fat body, little tiny wings and little tiny engine. Like that plane is not going anywhere. The same is true with your business. If you have this bloated, overly large overhead, it's just going to weigh the business down. And then lastly, the most important on an airplane and in business are the fuel tank. And in business, that's your cash flow. So if you don't have sales, if you don't have positive cash flow coming in, not just coming in, but timed in a way that you have, like people can have what they think is a great cash flow, but the timing of it, if it's not right, you could have what's called a negative cash gap. Like you could be spending more in money and have these periods of time where you actually have a negative balance. So it's really important to have the plane have fuel and the business have fuel, which is cash flow, making sure that every month there's a positive number coming in. Without cash, there is no business.
Yeah, amazing. I think the analogy from the plane just speaks volumes, being that every part of the plane is very integral for the successful flying of the plane, meaning that when one is out, the longevity of that particular plane getting to where it goes to is not even sure. And the fact that it may not even take a flight in the first place, let alone moving anywhere.
Right.
Yeah, especially when you make reference of the fact
Exactly.
that sales and market, it's very, very key. Yeah, that brought down to the next question I actually want to ask. So how do small business grow without relying heavily on paid ads?
tactical answer, what it is they specifically do, is going to vary somewhat depending on their business, if they're selling
Yeah.
a service versus a product. But let's step back a little bit. Go back to what I said about little tiny wins, compounding, and
Yeah.
they stack and you get these great benefits. The core of that is how you grow your business. And I have this book, and I can give it to your viewers for free. I can give you a link, and I talk about 12 profit levers. Again, thinking about an airplane, right? There's 12 instruments that a business owner can use in their reach, and it'll help their business. What does that look like? Well, one of the places that I go to early on if I'm coaching a business owner is we look at their pricing, their offer, how they're packaging what it is they're selling. 8 times out of 10, there's an opportunity there to increase the value of it by bundling. So taking one thing you sell, adding another thing, and selling the combined set together for more money than just selling each ones. And a great example of that is the fast food, McDonald's, the value meal. In the old days, you would go and say, I want a hamburger, and then I want to order a fries, and then I want something to drink. And now you just say, I want number one, which has all of those in together. And if you bought them individually, it would be more than the cost of those together. But the business is profiting because right off the bat, I don't want to get too far in the weeds, but like if I went in to buy a hamburger and I wasn't interested in a drink or French fries, the value of me is just the hamburger. But now that they've packaged it and they added 2 more items to it, the value of me is just, it's 30% more, 40% more. I've yet to meet a business. Yeah, I can't think of a business off the top of my head that wouldn't benefit from going through a bundling discovery to see how they could apply it to their business, especially in the service world. So now let's say it's someone that is doing a service. Agencies are great examples, or in your local community, it could be the lawn service or the plumber or the house builder. Most people talk about referrals being an important part of their business. Very few actually have a written down plan on how they're going to actually get referrals, identifying who those people are, who those businesses are, like who is a likely referral partner, and then how am I going to build a relationship with them. So in the case of, let's say, a landscape company, someone that comes and plants flowers and grass and keeps everything nice and tidy, for them to get referrals, they need to have a plan to build relationships with every real estate person that they can find, because real estate people are selling people homes.
Yeah.
And people that buy homes have lawns, and lawns need to be serviced. So not just going to the homeowner, but going to the people that sell to homeowners. And you could even keep kind of going down the line and saying, okay, realtor, but what about the people that are lending people money to buy the home? Like, they're important in that whole process. If I build a relationship with them and the realtor, then there's a good chance that I can be a referral for them for any home that's purchased. That's the kind of thinking that most businesses that I talk to don't go to that level of extreme, let's have a
Yeah.
plan, let's work it. And I could go on and on. There's things that are low-hanging fruit, things that you can do fairly quick. Bundling your business is a referral type business. That's a fantastic one. Joint ventures, building a relationship with someone that sells to the people that buy from you, but they don't compete with you. So if you're an ad agency, let's say you're a designer, build a relationship with the people that are doing the creative work. So if your business is really good with ads, Facebook ads, whatever,
Yeah.
build a relationship with agencies. Not every agency is going to want to get into ads, but they have clients that need ads. So you build this relationship with not just who you think should buy, but the people that also sell to them. Those are 3 of 12 that I talk about in this book that I can't think of a opportunity that wouldn't work for a business.
Amazing. Thank you so much for this. I think it's very, very lovely, especially when you get started with the profit ladder. And I must say a very big thank you for the offer for my audience. Yeah, thank you. The fact that you make a reference of packaging, profiting, yeah, bundling, joint venture, and building relationship. I think it's a whole lot being that small business sometimes. It's just that there's a level of work to these things, but there's a whole lot of things to get in there when many of those things are being put in place. Being that, yeah, you can charge more when you bundle business together, and joint vector too, being that as a team, people can get to earn more, and the fact that, yeah, you have more funnels towards gaining more clients compared to when you're just standing alone, and the building of relationship. And yeah, business is more like a product of various relationships, having them across
Yes.
various different ends. It's really lovely and amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I encourage business owners to really look at smaller pieces and think about what you've probably heard lifetime value. So,
Yeah.
what is the lifetime value of a customer? And instead of trying to say, I'm doing $500,000 in business and I want to do 1 million, that may be too big and too far off for someone to think about. But what they can think about is, how do I increase the lifetime value of my customers? So, starting now, if the lifetime value of a new client is $100, I'm making it up.
Yeah.
How can I get it so that same customer is worth $120, right? Once you figure that out, then you start doing these things in order, and pretty soon you're at $1 million in sales. You've hit your goal, but it feels doable. It is doable if you break it
Yeah.
down into small steps.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Why does culture often get ignored in small businesses, and what is the cost of that?
Well, let me answer this a couple of ways. One of the challenges that I have as a coach, and I'll just be completely honest,
Yeah.
is business owners don't always raise their hand and say, I need help. Like, business owners are very proud. They started their business, they're brave, they're smart, they're a lot of things, but they're also so close to the business because they're inside of it. They can't
Yeah.
necessarily see the things that a coach or a
Yeah.
mentor or a friend can see. So, the biggest challenge that a coach has, and I can speak personally, is helping business owners to, number one, see that it's okay that they don't have all the answers, that there's people that can help them see those answers, and what potential that has for the business on the other side. So, I still, to this day, I spend a large part of my day just working on what's the best way for me to communicate that. Like I said, business owners are proud. They're not quick to say, hey, I don't
Yeah.
know all the answers.
Yeah.
And in terms of what it costs, that really varies depending on the role the coach is going to play, depending on who you talk to. And maybe you've had other coaches on your show, but a coach can be strictly an advisor, right? Standing next to the business owner and helping them answer questions, challenging them to think differently. But at the end of the day, the business owner still goes and does the thing. There's another level of coaching, which is kind of like consulting, where the coach does that with the business owner, but they also step into the role of helping them physically do the thing. And, in my world, that might be building a sales funnel. As a coach, we may determine that the best thing for their business is a new or different sales funnel, and we want to really change the messaging. And so we'll take off the hat as coach, and we'll put on the hat as a marketer and actually help the business put that together. So it really depends really on the type of engagement, how long, but I'll answer it this way. If a coach is a good coach, and I think they're worth whatever it is they charge, is that they will ensure the client, the business owner, gets a return on their investment. I believe that coaching is not an expense. It's not something a business owner pays like the electricity bill or the internet bill. It should be something that they spend $1 and that dollar turns into $2 coming back to them. And at the end of the day, for me, when I sit down with a prospective client, if I can't prove to myself that this relationship would be profitable to the business owner, then um, I don't move forward because I can't do that because that violates this principle that I have that coaching is an investment, and as an investment, it should pay a return. It should be profitable. So yeah, there's somewhat new example. There's someone that I know, and then we just started working together who wants to create a course. Their market is sales. They sell high end things, and they want to take that knowledge and that reputation and they want to start teaching. And that relationship looks different than the relationship of just helping somebody create their vision, go like in the airplane, sitting in the cockpit and saying, where do you want to go? Like, I remember the first time I asked a business owner this, and it was someone that had been in business for probably 15 years. And that question caught them off guard. Where do you want to go in this business? What do you want to have happen? And they never thought about it like that. They always just thought, hey, it was money coming in that had my name on the check. That's all I care about. Like, all right, when you no longer want to work or you no longer can work, you want do you want to pass this business along to your family? Do you want your children to run this business? Do you want to sell it and give them the bucket of money? Because if you do, those are two different strategies
Yeah.
on how you build that
The
business.
business.
And once you start positioning those questions, you start to see the wheels turn and they start to see that, well, I get it now. I'm building not just for tomorrow, but for 10 years from tomorrow. Like, I got to do that now.
Yeah, amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much. And I think it just speaks volume to the next question I tend to ask is the fact that when starting the business, the long term of the business should be in mind being that, yes, is it going to be built to sell or built to actually grow? So a whole lot of strategies need to be put in place so that at the end of the day, even if you want to get out, it's easier to sell your business if you don't intend the gain. That's if the strategy is set right or compared to if it doesn't set right. Yeah, amazing, Bradley. It's a pleasure having you on the show. So, Bradley, for my
Thank you.
audience who want to connect with you, who want to reach out to you for your service that you offer, and who want to reach out to you too, and even for your book, how can they reach out to you, and where is the best platform for it?
Sure. So the website is foresightcoach.com. That's the number four, the word sight, SIGHT, and then
Okay.
coach, COACH.com. Going to my website, I've got um, a good amount of resources, freebies, some other things that are practical that no matter what type of business, if you're at a point that you want to grow or you're at the point that you are just now thinking about starting a business, there'll be some things in there that will help. Yeah, I would just go to foresightcoach.com and you'll be able to find this white-haired, bald guy.
Yeah, thank you. So, Bradley, what is going to be your final word to entrepreneurs and those who are job owners who are stuck? I want to go into entrepreneurship. What is your final words to them?
Two things. Believe in yourself. So believe, like if it's something you want to do, believe in yourself that you can do it and you will do it. And discipline. Small wins. Every day just a little bit better. And then pretty soon it'll go like this, right? You don't
Yeah.
start here and expect to go here. Like you're going to get there. Little wins, you can do it. And being a business owner is the best thing in the world. So I hope everyone tries.
Yeah, thank you. Bradley, thank you so much for sharing your insights today. If you are listening and want to regain control of your business and your time, check out the show notes for the link and book a short call with Bradley. This has been the Aro Benaiah Show. And once again, it's really, really a pleasure having you on the show, Bradley.
My pleasure. Thank you.